Another Christmas vacation joint. Talking about this close to disaster of the Texans losing the number one pick. I think it would lead to potentially one of the most unproductive seasons in franchise history, if not the most, with nothing to show for it. If they win one of the next two and Chicago doesn't win a game, and specifically if they win both, who the hell knows what happens. I haven't even gone over those scenarios yet. I'm saving that for after the Jags game. When the picture is more clear. I don't have my normal setup. I'll have it likely tomorrow. I'm on vacation, Christmas vacation, getting my 5th and 6th dinners out of the way. But I do have notes since my computer's not with me, the other point of views when it comes to this disaster. And I think there are a lot of hardos out there. I don't know if y'all really feel this way or if we're just kind of playing devil's advocate. But I just can't fathom how anyone would think that anything other than getting the number one pick this year would be the ultimate result of this 2022 season. I can't fathom it. No matter how you look at it, I can't fathom how anyone could think that way. I know some of you do. I've talked to DJ Bieneme of ESPN. Gonna try to have him on the channel Wednesday or Thursday. It's always good going at it with DJ. So I'll talk to him about it. But whether it's him, anyone else, I just can't fathom how the hell anyone would think that not getting the number one pick is a better result than getting the top pick. Just can't understand. Now, I know there's different point of views. I'll go through those. Subscribe to the channel at Landry Locker on Twitter, at Landry Locker on Instagram. We're going hard into 2023. We've got the 1,000 subscriptions. It's only going to get better. Got a lot of stuff that I'm working on to make this channel even better. The character building thing is something that I really roll my eyes at. This notion that the Texans are like building character and building culture by winning these games. Stop it. Like, one of the main things that we hear constantly in the NFL is it's a year-to-year league. And what happens one year, it doesn't matter the next. The Rams didn't make the Super Bowl. They didn't even make the playoffs this year. They're the first team since 2016. So this notion that, like, some sort of character is being built. The Texans aren't building any more character with the win against the dog-butted Tennessee Titans, who suck, by the way, and they're a disaster. There's not any more character being built with that win, especially at the end of the season with nothing to really accomplish than they did in the efforts against the Cowboys and Chiefs. Matter of fact, I would say those were more productive because you had great efforts against good football teams. You lost, so you kept the number one pick. You kept possession of the number one pick. Titans are a joke. Malik Willis might be the worst quarterback to ever play in the AFC South, and we've seen some bad ones. We've witnessed that firsthand. He was rough. Maybe he gets better. I don't know. That was bad. There's nothing being built there. I'll use Thursday night as an example, and I'll use the team that's supposed to win the division and the team the Texans are going to face on Sunday, the Jacksonville Jaguars, as an example. 2020, New York Jets, quarterback-hungry New York Jets. They were starving for a win, for a quarterback. They win a meaningless game against the previously mentioned Los Angeles Rams, and boom, they hand possession of the number one pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, what's the Jets' biggest problem right now? They've done everything right. They've done everything the right way. They've got the defensive rookie of the year in Sauce Gardner. They probably got the offensive rookie of the year in Garrett Wilson. Breece Hall, who they drafted in the second round, probably would have been the offensive rookie of the year before he got hurt. They've done everything right, but they don't have a quarterback. If they had not won that game against the Rams, they would have drafted Trevor Lawrence number 1 overall, and we might be talking about the Super Bowl favorite. Instead, they had to go into the cluster. They selected Zach Wilson. Some say they might have drafted Justin Fields, but let's be honest, Trevor Lawrence is a class above everyone in that group, and if they had Trevor Lawrence, stuff would have changed. Now let's look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville, they've been able to turn things around. They lost all their games at the end of last year. They lost more games than anyone. They weren't building character. You know why? Because you build character by having a good offseason and bringing in a good coach that knows how to win and knows how to get the most of his team. They hired Doug Peterson. They fixed one of their biggest weaknesses, playmakers on offense. They drafted Travis Etienne in the first round. He's rushed for 1,000 yards this year, and they signed Zay Jones to a 3-year contract. They signed Christian Kirk to a 4-year contract, and they signed Evan Ingram to a 1-year contract. They're the only team in the entire NFL now that has 3 guys that have caught 60 balls and have 600 yards. Oh, and by the way, they have the quarterback, which is the most important thing, because they weren't worried about some hardo culture building. They built it in the offseason. It's a year-to-year league. So the culture building stuff is a complete myth. It's not true. You see it with the Jets. You see it with the Jags. Now, I know people are saying this, and I hear this as well. Well, there's no Trevor Lawrence in this draft. Yeah, there might not be. There could be, though. There could be. And if you think it's Bryce Young, or you think it's Will Levis, or you think it's C.J. Stroud, you want the first crack at picking that guy if you're the Houston Texans. You want the first crack at that. You want to take the top quarterback. You don't want anything, any variable, any happening. You don't want anything to take that away from you. You want the quarterback. So you want the first crack at it. Now, if you don't want to draft a quarterback, you're one of the people who says, I don't like the quarterbacks in this draft. Well, first of all, you'd still like to be at the top of the draft, because there's a chance Will Anderson could be like the Nick Bosa type of guy that we're seeing in San Francisco. Will Anderson, the Chicago Bears could potentially take Will Anderson. They could take Carter. So you would rather be at the top. You want your guys to get who they believe is the top guy. Now, you can screw that up, and some people are saying, well, the Bears aren't going to take a quarterback, so if you want a quarterback, it doesn't matter. Okay, here's another scenario, and this is why you don't want any variables. What if the Chicago Bears, I'm sorry, there's some girl out there, and she's just letting her dog poop in my girl's mom's yard. I'm just acting like nothing's happening right there. Look at that. Damn shame. But there's some people that will say, well, the Bears aren't going to take a quarterback, and they don't want to take they don't want to take a QB. Okay, what if they want to trade? What if Matt Eberflus decides, all right, I'm going to call him, you know what, Indianapolis needs a quarterback. I got some familiarity there. We like Justin Fields. Calls up Jim Irsay. Couple of first-round picks. Who knows what else? Colts go up. They take Bryce Young. What if Bryce Young ends up being the truth? You're leaving out the sheer possibility that Indianapolis, hell, Tennessee needs a quarterback. You saw Malik Willis play. You're leaving the sheer possibility that a quarterback-needy team could trade with the Chicago Bears and they could hurdle you. That's if you're one of the people that's saying, well, Chicago's not going to take a quarterback. You think Tennessee and Indianapolis aren't going to try to get quarterbacks this offseason? You think they're going to be willing to give up a lot? Probably so. You think they might like Bryce Young? Mike Vrabel knows Bill O'Brien a little bit. You think Bill O'Brien's saying some nice things about Bryce Young? You think the Titans lose that game with Bryce Young? You think Indianapolis might like to have Bryce Young? It takes away the possibility there. So the hardo character building, the I don't want a quarterback, they're not going to take a quarterback. I just don't see how, I don't see how not having the number 1 pick benefits that. Furthermore, do you think Lovie Smith should be the coach next year? I don't think Lovie Smith should be the coach next year. I think Lovie Smith did a good job holding it down. I think Lovie Smith did a good job, providing some stability. We know what Lovie Smith is. Lovie Smith, without Ron Rivera and Rod Marinelli calling his defense, and by the way, he ran Ron Rivera out of town and then did things his way. 3 years, really bad defense, not even in the top half. Then he had to hire Rod Marinelli to save his job. But without those 6 years, Lovie Smith has one winning season. One winning season as a head coach. And that's why the notion, and this got put to rest on Sunday, I hope, unless we want to move the goalposts, the notion that Lovie Smith isn't trying to win games. That's silly. That's as silly as the media types or like the fans that feel like they're breaking some sort of news when they tell you, well, the players aren't going to try to lose. The players, you can't expect players to try to lose. I've said that. I said that in the last video. I've said that multiple times. The players and Lovie Smith aren't trying to lose. Like, that's the most Captain Obvious thing ever. Like, that's either just being Captain Obvious or just trying to carry some water or something like that. The players aren't going to try to lose. No kidding. Thank you. Like, no kidding. But it can still be more productive for them to lose than win because of the previously mentioned number one pick thing. It would be like the people who feel the need to tell you, well, the players aren't going to try to lose. First of all, I know that. We talk to them each week. I have a pretty good grasp of what the players do. There she goes again. The dog pooped again, and she just left it. My goodness. But the player's not trying to lose. That would be like you saying, I want Tom Brady to lose in the Super Bowl. I'm rooting against Tom Brady, which I did last night again, by the way. I'm tired of watching him. And then someone saying, you expect Tom Brady to try to lose? No. I just wanted the result to be Tom Brady loses for whatever reason. Like, some of this Captain Obvious stuff is really, I mean, no kidding. Like, of course the players don't want to lose. But they should, because it's in the best interest of things. Starting to have my doubts, though, after that win. And who knows how bad it could get. Texans opening right now as a 4.5-point dog to the Jags. Jags might not have a ton to play for, so if there are guys kind of that may or may not be injured, we could see a scenario where Jacksonville rests guys. But who knows? Hopefully the Texans don't screw this up. Hopefully we get a new coach. And then hopefully, regardless of whether you want a quarterback, whether you don't want a quarterback, etc., the best result happens for the Texans. I want what's best for them. I want what's best for the city. I want what's best for the organization. I want the next head coach to have that number one pick, whether he wants to take a defensive guy, whether he wants to take a quarterback, that you would actually have something to show for that. This isn't the NBA where the top three teams get a 14% chance. In the NFL, as it sits right now, you get rewarded for losing. Not saying that's the good thing, not saying players need to try to do it, but you get rewarded for it. Number one pick, no matter how you look at it, no matter what your point of view is, it makes sense to get that number one pick. I'll be back tomorrow, probably in the studio. I'll be back on the air next Monday. They wanted me to take some time off, man. Everyone takes time off. It's good for a recharge, good to get the family stuff in. I was kind of just leaving vacation on the table for a while, so just a little bit of a break. But the YouTube channel lives on. Go fight, win, lose, because they need that number one pick. Everyone have a good holidays. Happy New Year. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. I'll be back on the air Monday. If you missed the Laramie Tunsil interview, it was really good. Fire that up on the Odyssey app. He was really funny. And we'll probably get some more players next week. And I'll be at Jacksonville. So if you're if you're tailgating or whatever, it's gonna be the final game of the year. Get at me, and we'll link up. Or I'll also be at the Texas Bowl too. We're a sponsor there. So everyone have a good holidays. Hopefully the Texans get that number one pick, because there's no benefit to not getting it. And remember, no matter what happens, we're in this together. Happy holidays.